of Windhoek secures 155 million Namibian dollar loan for new power substation to avoid load shedding.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening, I'm Tonata Kavila in the news tonight. Omaruru Town Mayor calls for calm among residents. Keeping fish as pets requires time, effort and patience. Plants offer better self-medication than pharmaceuticals, says Botanic Garden, and then Business on One, followed by tonight's sport news. Leading the bulletin, the mayor of the Omaruru Town Council has called for calm among residents after those residents called for a response to grievances cited in a petition that they handed over to the Town Council on the 3rd of August 2021. Grievances cited in the petition include unfenced and unkept solid waste dumps, overflowing sewage in the town and mismanagement of town projects, among others.
Speaking through a community representative, Omaruru residents further alleged that the town's mayor has not kept promises made to the town, adding that since the petition was handed over, no effort has been made from the council to update residents on the way forward.
Akahana and the Sietelan and Achterland. The problem there was two people at one plot is how they were located. And the rubbish that was now in that area now, that was not collected that time, and the problem with the prepaid, because the people themselves, they had said that they had paid the land through the prepaid system that was introduced that time. They said they had paid the land through the prepaid. That time they had an agreement with the municipality saying that no, you have when you are buying water, you put a certain amount. So in that certain amount is it's paying your land your land now. That was the agreement of that time. Now in the other location also, which is Afefrand and Soskin and Okapega was having a problem with the with the electricity. The installation of electricity and the rubbish that were not collected that time. And in Soskin and Fairfront, it was also a problem with the location of the land, with the land now. The money that we were owing to the municipality. Apparently, they were owing the municipality, and many people that shelters that are staying that side, and shelters that are staying that side, and people with the disability and all that, and people who do not have a proper income. So, but they were owing the municipality where they said no, the installation of the sewage system is not installed.
In response, Vincent Kahwa, the mayor of Omaruru, said many of the grievances cited in the petition have been dealt with. He noted that Omaruru's only source of revenue to maintain the town comes from water, which the town manages from 12 boreholes, explaining that the council has a debt of 52 million in water payments owed by institutions and residents.
You know, the challenge of a local authority like Omaruru, the only resource we are getting income to maintain our operation, to maintain our salary of the staff, to maintain projects the community needs. Them also putting some few requests, land delivery, land to be serviced, housing, electricity in their petition. Our only resource is water. We have our own water. And this water, we are not depending on water. We are doing the system ourselves. It is an old system, like a Suri system. We even inherited it from Battle DSA that time. So, and then we take over as the council. We never give it now to home water. We retain it just to manage it. So we have our own water. We manage our own water from our own boreholes. And what I can inform you now, for 2 years, all our boreholes is in the river, the Omaruru River. Around 9 working now, and the 3 reserve is now altogether they are 12. The current situation is the council has about 52 million debts owned by government institutions, owned by the community who have refused to pay water because of the government directive of free water, own people lose jobs and families and so on. There is a lot of issue there. It was after COVID, some of them have lost employment, some of the family members have died, some of them was also wrong directed by the ministry, or I don't know, the government don't pay the water. The local authority has to give free water. At the end of the day, the people even could not pay their own account. They just refused to pay their account. Apparently, the government says free water. So this was a really issue to be addressed. The council has taken a resolution to go the way of a prepaid water meter. You know, Erongo and the rest, they don't have a problem with electricity. You don't use electricity and then later pay. Most now, Erongo rate or whatever, Senorate and whoever Noret, they put a prepaid meter. First you go and buy electricity and then you come and use. This system of using water at the end of the day, the person cannot now afford the account to pay. We have to and close. Those accounts are standing. It is really a challenge to the local authority, not only Omaruru, the others also.
Student trends, smart moves, leather school shoes, so cool. Brake pads, spike shoe. Bright white shirts, super power burst, no creases, too easy. New trousers, oh wowzers, go powers.
Student trends.
Quality sense. Student trends, only at Pep.
On this episode of The She Word, we find out what should be done to protect egg donors from possible exploitation.
It is while waiting for a doctor's appointment to undergo tube ligation in the UK that Pumla Navacha heard about egg donation.
I overheard a conversation between two slightly older African women, and they were going through a deep conversation about how they had failed for years and years, been trying to have a child, to have children.
Keeping fish as pets can be exciting, but it's not as easy as you might think, as it requires one to be willing to spend a lot of time on it. Manager of City Pets in Windhoek, Leon Carstens, told News on One that fish owners need to make sure fish tanks are always clean and ensure that the water condition is good. He says a new fish owner should only place fish in the tank once the water has been in the tank for 2 weeks.
Keeping a fish as a pet can be exciting, but there are a number of things to consider. The first and most important of which is to ensure the nitrogen cycle in the tank as it will keep the fish healthy.
To have fish, you must be willing to spend lots of time. Firstly, because you need to educate yourself. A fish is a difficult animal to keep. It's also one of the easiest animals that will die if you do not do proper research on your animal. The water conditions must be correct. You must clean it regularly and you must pay close attention. It's not like a dog that you will see, the dog stops eating, the dog is losing weight. You'll just wake up one morning and the fish might be dead. So you must spend lots of time, go on YouTube, type in this and this fish, check your name. If you can buy fish, ask what fish is it, ask the name, write it down. Take note of what fish you buy. Do not always mix all fish together, and do not put too much fish in one tank. Generally, when you start a tank, you can purchase any tank wherever from us, from any other pet shop. You put in water and then you wait at least 2 weeks. There are processes in the water that have to occur first. You do not throw in water into a tank and throw in fish on top. Then usually the fish will die. You must wait 2 weeks at least. There are some chemicals that you can buy that will assist in the process. They will speed up the rate at which the water acclimatizes. There are different cycles going on in a fish tank. Primarily, the most important one is the nitrogen cycle, which is very important for the fish to remain healthy. In terms of feeding that you mentioned earlier, if you feed too much food for fishes, the tanks usually become dirty. So the way it works is that food builds up and it is not broken down properly if you put in too much food. That is like a cycle of food also. Food turns into waste, and that waste is broken down in our tanks, you see, because our system has been running a long time, our tanks as well.
Carstens added that fish breeding is also difficult, and it depends on the type of fish, as some fish breed faster than others.
Fish breeding is very difficult. It depends on the type of fish. Some fishes breed easier than others. For instance, the guppy is the most common fish besides the goldfishes. The guppy is also a very easy breeder. They breed quite easily, they do it by themselves. But one thing you must take note, for some fish they lay eggs at the top of the tank, for instance up there on the upper edges. So your filtration system must not be too strong because it will suck in the eggs and destroy the eggs that must be hatched. So the ones that we use are just sponge filters. The suction is not too strong and they do not pose a threat to the eggs. However, we do not breed fish because they sell too fast. We get in fish from South Africa and sell, but get in and sell. We do not, the fish don't stay here too long or long enough for them to breed.
Carstens urged members of the public interested in starting to keep fish as pets to continuously do research on how to keep fish as pets happy and healthy, as there is so much to learn.
It's time for our special City Police segment. This evening's message from Sergeant Marceline Murapo focuses on noise pollution.
Noise pollution refers to the disturbing noise caused by machineries. It can also be caused by loud music or music that comes from the vehicles. It can also be caused by any other things that do really cause a really loud sound. Maybe one example I can give is people constructing maybe on a Sunday. People are supposed to rest on a Sunday, but they are busy using this big machinery to maybe grind something, and it may cause nuisance to the neighbor. That is one example of noise pollution. The Local Authority Act does not permit anybody to cause nuisance, especially to your neighbors or to any person next to you. The Act of 1992, in specific, number 23 of that Act, does not permit anybody, especially in the municipal area, to cause any nuisance to anyone, unless permitted maybe or it's approved or permitted by the council to do so. But even though you are permitted, not the permission for you to make noise, but maybe to carry out that specific activities, provided it does still not cause any nuisance to any other person. Noise pollution have a lot of effects in itself. Number one, in our residential areas, we have elderly persons, we have the sick people or persons also in that areas. We have students that prepare for examinations. We have law enforcement officers, especially, or the nurses or the emergency officials that work shifts. Most of these people sometimes they will want to rest, especially the ill. They will want to rest, and if you make noise, that affects them dearly. They will need to rest. is the people that worked in the night also, they would want to, because some people, the noise does not only happen in the night, it happens also during the day. Be it night or day, people want to rest. You work night shift or you knocked off early morning, you want to rest and then the neighbor is making too much noise. That affects them. Those are some of the effects of noise pollution. Noise pollution, if you cause nuisance to others, the law, according to the Local Authority Act, says, should you disturb a person, especially, not necessarily when they report, but most of the time we get calls where people are disturbed, the penalty will be, first we go, visit your place, we warn you about it. When we warn you, we expect you to change. And if there's no change, we come back, we find you still continuing, we will give you a fine of $1,000. We return, you still continue, we'll give you another fine of $2,000. If not so, we can open a case against you because you are not abiding by the law. The recreational facility the city have maybe created, or the ones that we have, is not for people to make noise. They are there for people to have fun, for entertainment purposes. We can grant you that permission, maybe should you want to maybe make a party at those places. But we are not giving a permission to cause noise to any other person. Like we said previously, if you are permitted or you want to have a party, obviously you have to first consult your neighbors. If they are in agreement, especially in a residential area, you do that.
Enjoy these fantastic payday savings at Clicks until the 9th of January. Buy Clicks 2-ply toilet paper 18 rolls, 2 for $104.99 per pack and 1 for $114.99. Save 20% on Pampers Premium Care Pants or Disposable Nappies Value Pack. And buy Clicks Extreme Power Dishwashing Tablets 40-pack, 2 for $198. Clicks. Feel good. Pay less.
Ek kom nie terug nie. Ek sal altyd lief bly vir pa.
Dan vergeet ek het ooit uitgevind de wet besonder met pa. My ma kon hom vergewe.
A bomb exploded in the heights.
What? When?
The curator at the National Botanic Garden of Namibia in Windhoek, Levi Nanyeni, told Agri on One that medicinal plants have long-lasting benefits compared to some pharmaceutical products. Nanyeni highlighted that some scientists believe all plants have medicinal properties that simply need to be discovered.
There are 4,000 indigenous plant species in Namibia, and new species are still being discovered every day. Nanyeni said there is no record of the exact number of medicinal plants in Namibia. However, so far it exceeds 500.
All these plants, some are endemic and some are near endemic. However, they are all protected because they become collector's items. People want them in their garden.
Nanyeni mentioned some of the common medicinal plants in Namibia, adding that some are poisonous to humans, yet beneficial to wildlife.
All the euphorbias are known to be poisonous. So what happens is when you hurt it, it produces milk latex. And that milk latex is very poisonous. Number one, you don't want it to get on your skin. If it does, it causes skin rashes. The worst thing is when they get into your eyes, it causes blindness, and you can basically lose your sight. So once it gets into your eyes, you need to be treated immediately, or if you're somewhere in the field, then somebody must rinse your eyes with water quickly. What we've got here is it's an acacia, Acacia heteroensis. The common name is a mountain stone. The Hereros, they cook it, or they burn it, and they drink it. When they cook it, put it in the water, they drink, and it's actually for coughing. You know, the same as they dig up the roots, boil them, and that is to heal them from chest pain. It's how effective it is. That is not scientifically proven, but that's how in the olden time people have used them. Also, they can also treat smallpox. You know, when they drink this, you know, you've got the kids got rashes and what have you. You want to drink the leaves boiled in water also, and then it heals that. Here I've got the Siphosema ute, and you can see the fruit here. When they're ready, they're red, and they actually look like grapes. They're poisonous. When you eat them, they damage your lining of your intestine, the mucus and all that, so it's dangerous. Now, the interesting thing is that the sap from the fresh or soft fruit is used to treat skin rashes and also all skin problems. I was supposed to, if you've got rashes and all other skin related problems, so you use the saps from the fruit.
The National Botanic Garden has more than 500 species of medicinal plants and seeds preserved for the continuity of indigenous species.
Welcome to this edition of Business on One. 2022 was a busy year for many companies, including Ogilvy Namibia. Business on One approached the organization to reflect on the year that was and the new year.
My name is Rizwan van der Merwe. I'm the Managing Director and also an Executive Shareholder at Ogilvy Namibia. We're an advertising agency. We've been around for 26 years. We're actually celebrating our 27th birthday in June next year. And we make brands matter. So that's what we live for. We've actually received fantastic news. My finance manager, and we also shared it with a few of our stakeholders last week. Ogilvy has been, like I mentioned, 26 years we've been in the industry, and this year's actually been our best year in the history. So I don't know what we've managed to do. I think clients were ready to take the next step. I think post-COVID they realized that if I'm not top of mind, if I don't put in extra budget into my marketing, then my brand will just dissolve. So I do think in actual fact, COVID has taught and educated our clients and our brands that if you don't put certain budgets in place, then your audience will just completely forget about you. So we were extremely blessed to have the best year ever, and we are extremely excited for 2023. So yeah. We've expanded our team as well. Last year we employed another 5 people in the team. Our focus is very much digital, but we will change the structure of the business slightly. We are looking at doing a bit more international business next year, and we are going to focus a lot on conceptual work when it comes to tactical events for the industry. We do feel that there's a big need for that, and in January we'll have another two new team members joining the team. So we've been growing, and I think with our decentralized business model that we do have in place, we're continuously scouting new talent, finding new teams to join the Ogilvy team. So we are excited. I think we've kind of settled. We've had the rough patches, and we're at a point where we feel very confident and comfortable in what 2023, and we're ready. We've got a good strong team, so we're ready for whatever lies ahead. Ogilvy is ready for 2023.
And that is all we have for you. Be sure to follow us on our social media pages for more on the business front.
Welcome back. It's time for a look at sports news. The 22nd African Championships in Athletics was held in St. Pierre, Mauritius at the Côte d'Ivoire National Sports Complex from the 8th to the 12th of June 2022. Sport on One caught up with Namibian athletics medalist winners who reflected on their 2022 sporting achievements.
Sport on One spoke to Dawana Hetembu, Namibia's 100, 200 and 400 meter track athlete who was eager to share her achievements of the year despite injuries.
So 2022 was what I term as a self-development year. I learned quite a lot despite the challenges I went through with regard to a hamstring injury, which was quite a hiccup. But despite that, I'm glad that I got to learn from it and conquer it and, go through it. The positives was that I got a chance to compete outside, which was the USA. It was quite a good experience, competing against a whole new nation, people from the other side. And it was quite, quite reflective, if I should say, but it was a good experience.
Hetembu encouraged her fellow athletes to take time to rest as well before taking on the new year. Also raking in 2 bronze medals is Mohamed Bok, who spoke confidently about how he experienced 2022 and also reflected on the Commonwealth Games.
I had a target in mind that was to break the national record. With that being done, I would enable myself to qualify for the Commonwealth Games and to get a ranking amongst the world's top athletes. So 2022 has been a prosperous and a good year for athletics and for myself as well. It not only motivated me, but it motivated all the younger athletes and athletes that are out there working hard. It had pushed them to believe that yes, it is possible for a Namibian to make it, to represent the country and to stand amongst the best in the world. My interest in it is just to better myself, better my surroundings, because sports make you feel alive. If it wasn't for sports, there would be no sign of hope. So this keeps me out of the streets. It keeps me motivated. The fact that you're getting better at something and that you are able to challenge yourself and challenge others as good as yourself, is what keeps me. It's what keeps my interest in the sport.
Bok concluded that his aim is to qualify for the World Championship slated for August 2023.
That's all the sports news we have for you, and that also brings us to the end of tonight's edition of News on One. Don't forget to follow us on our social media